For most of human history, Pluto was nothing more than a faint dot, a flicker of light at the far edge of the solar system. It was discovered in 1930, hidden within the static of the stars. To early astronomers, it represented the border between what we knew and what we could only imagine. For decades, our telescopes showed us nothing more than a blur, a world too distant, too cold, too small to truly understand. But in 2006, NASA sent a probe on a journey that would change that forever. It was called New Horizons. Scene 2. The mission of a lifetime. New Horizons was launched from Cape Canaveral on January 19, 2006, the fastest spacecraft ever sent from Earth. It raced toward the outer darkness at over 58,000 kilometers per hour, bound for a tiny world 5 billion kilometers away. For 9 years, it traveled in silence, past Mars, past Jupiter, into the deep freeze beyond the gas giants. No mission had ever gone so far with such precision. Its destination, Pluto, the last unexplored frontier of the classical planets. Soft piano notes drift in. Narrator. Imagine that journey. A small spacecraft, no bigger than a baby grand piano, carrying the dreams of generations across billions of miles. In 2015, it finally arrived, and what it found would astonish the world. Scene 3. The First Glimpse. On July 14, 2015, after nearly a decade in flight, New Horizons flew just 12,500 kilometers above Pluto's surface, closer than any spacecraft had ever been. It sent back the first high-resolution images, and with them, the end of an era of mystery. We saw a world of astonishing detail, mountains of solid ice rising like granite peaks, valleys carved in nitrogen, and a vast, heart-shaped plain stretching across its surface. That heart would soon become one of the most iconic symbols in planetary science. It wasn't just geology, it was character. It was Pluto, revealing itself for the first time. Scene 4. A living surface. Scientists expected Pluto to be ancient and dead, a frozen relic of the early solar system. But the images told a different story. The smooth plains of Sputnik Planitia, the western lobe of the heart, showed no craters at all, a sign that its surface is young and active. Cryovolcanic activity, where ice behaves like lava, appeared to reshape the land. Pluto, it turned out, was not a fossil. It was alive with motion. Its nitrogen ices flow and reform. Its mountains cast shadows over frozen plains, and its thin atmosphere dances between gas and frost as it orbits the sun. A world thought to be silent was in fact breathing. Ambient low strings swell softly, a tone of quiet awe. Scene 6. The sky of Pluto. Even Pluto's sky surprised us. As New Horizons turned its camera back toward the horizon, it captured something breathtaking. Layers of haze glowing in pale blue light. Each layer was made of tiny hydrocarbon particles, frozen in mid-air, drifting in thin nitrogen air. Against the black backdrop of space, Pluto's sky shimmered with color, a gentle alien blue. It was the kind of beauty that humbles even science itself. We expected a dead rock. What we found was a world with atmosphere, weather, and light. Scene 7. The companions of Pluto. But Pluto doesn't travel alone. Orbiting it are 5 moons, each one a piece of its strange history. The largest, Charon, is so massive that Pluto and Charon actually orbit a common center of gravity in space. They are a binary system, a double world, locked in eternal rotation around each other. New Horizons revealed Charon in stunning clarity, a cracked and scarred landscape of canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, vast plains of ancient ice, and evidence that its crust once fractured as its interior froze and expanded. Where Pluto showed signs of renewal, Charon revealed the marks of an older, quieter story, one written in time and ice. Together, they orbit in balance, a frozen dance at the edge of the sun's light. 2 worlds bound by gravity, but separated by the silence of space. Scene 8. The Mystery of Sputnik Planitia. Among all the features New Horizons uncovered, none was more intriguing than Sputnik Planitia, the left half of Pluto's heart. This basin, hundreds of kilometers across, is filled with frozen nitrogen and carbon monoxide ices that slowly flow and churn like glaciers on Earth. But its position is peculiar. It lies directly opposite Pluto's largest moon, Charon, as though their gravity is linked across the planet's rotation. Some scientists believe a massive impact may have created it, a collision so powerful that it reshaped Pluto's balance, causing it to roll slightly on its axis. Others think it could be the surface expression of a subsurface ocean, a pocket of liquid water hidden beneath kilometers of ice. If that's true, then even here, 5 billion kilometers from the Sun, Pluto might hold the conditions for chemistry we associate with life. Scene 10. The Transmission. It took over 15 months for New Horizons to send back all of its data. Each image, each byte of information had to cross the entire solar system. A radio signal traveling 5 billion kilometers at the speed of light. It arrived weak, whispering through static, but every bit carried history. By the time the last data packet reached Earth in 2016, we had a complete portrait of Pluto, not as a symbol of debate, but as a real, complex world.
In Part 1, we followed New Horizons to its long-awaited meeting with Pluto, a flyby that revealed mountains of ice, blue hazes in a frozen sky, and a heart-shaped plain of nitrogen. It showed us that even at the edge of sunlight, a world can still surprise us with beauty and activity. But Pluto was never meant to be the end. It was just the beginning. Scene 1. The Afterglow of Discovery. As New Horizons sailed past Pluto, it turned its cameras back one last time. Against the darkness, it captured a thin arc of atmosphere glowing in soft blue. Pluto, illuminated from behind by the sun. That image became one of the most haunting ever taken in planetary exploration. A small, distant world, wrapped in light. It was the moment humanity looked back at its own accomplishment and realized that we had reached the frontier of our solar neighborhood and gone beyond it. Scene 2. Into the Kuiper Belt. Beyond Pluto lies a region known as the Kuiper Belt, a vast ring of icy remnants left over from the solar system's formation. It stretches for billions of kilometers, filled with dwarf planets, comets, and ancient fragments that have remained untouched for over 4 billion years. New Horizons had just become the first spacecraft to enter this region. What it found there would reshape our understanding of how planets form and how fragile the boundary between chaos and creation truly is. Scene 3. The frozen debris of creation. The Kuiper Belt is a time capsule. Every object here, every rock, every grain of ice, is a leftover piece of the original protoplanetary disk that gave birth to the planets. In its frozen depths, the story of our origin has been preserved like a fossil. Pluto and his neighbors are not failed planets. They are the building blocks that never merged, the ingredients that stopped short of becoming something larger. When New Horizons entered this realm, it was as if we were peering into the solar system's childhood, seeing for the first time what the early Earth might at once have looked like. Scene 4. The first Kuiper Belt encounter. After completing its Pluto mission, New Horizons team searched for a new target, a small body farther beyond, something untouched since the dawn of time. They found it, Arrokoth, formerly known as 2014 MU69. It was faint, dim, and unimaginably far away, a world so small it reflected only a glimmer of sunlight. Yet, on January 1st, 2019, New Horizons made history again, flying just 3,500 kilometers from Arrokoth's surface, the most distant close encounter ever achieved. Scene 5. Arrokoth, the most pristine world. What New Horizons revealed stunned scientists. Arrokoth was unlike anything seen before. It wasn't a single sphere, but two lobes gently fused together, resembling a cosmic snowman floating in darkness. This was no violent collision. The two bodies had drifted together slowly, merging in perfect balance. This discovery changed our understanding of how planets begin to form. It showed us that in the calm outskirts of the solar system, matter can come together softly, not through chaos, but through harmony. In a universe often defined by violence, Arrokoth reminded us that creation can be quiet. Scene 6. The ancient color of time. Arrokoth's surface is deep red, colored by complex organic molecules called tholins, formed when sunlight interacts with simple compounds like methane and nitrogen. This reddish hue tells a story billions of years old, of chemistry untouched since the birth of the sun. No atmosphere, no erosion, no geological renewal, just silence, and the unbroken memory of the solar system's earliest days. Scene 7. The planetary time machine. New Horizons became a time machine, sending us images of objects that have remained frozen since the beginning of everything we know. Through its cameras, we saw how gravity gathers dust into pebbles, pebbles into mountains, and mountains into worlds. We saw for the first time the gentlest form of creation, the slow accumulation of order in the middle of infinite cold. This was not just discovery, it was perspective. Scene 8. The space between. Between Pluto and Arrokoth lies an expanse so empty that even light takes hours to cross it. Yet New Horizons kept sending signals, its faint transmissions carried across billions of kilometers, powered by a small radioisotope thermoelectric generator, a nuclear heart that glowed steadily in the cold. Every signal took nearly 6 hours to reach Earth. By the time engineers received each update, the spacecraft had already moved thousands of kilometers farther. It was like whispering across eternity, a conversation measured not in seconds, but in light years of patience. Scene 9. The silence of deep space. Out there, sunlight is dimmer than a winter moon. Space is colder than any vacuum on Earth, and yet New Horizons continues to travel, beyond the reach of planets, into the interstellar wind. Its instruments still listen, still measure, still search for the next faint glimmer of something ancient and unspoiled. Even now, it's mapping the density of dust, the radiation environment, and the subtle structure of the heliosphere, the invisible bubble carved by the sun's solar wind. Each reading helps us understand where the sun's influence ends and interstellar space truly begins. Scene 10. The Message in the Dark. The farther New Horizons travels, the quieter it becomes. Its data arrives slower each year, its power dwindling, its instruments gradually cooling toward silence. But even as its voice fades, its message remains clear. We were here. We reached beyond the known, and we found beauty in the coldest places imaginable. Pluto was once the last planet. Now it is the gateway to a realm older and wider than we ever dreamed. Beyond it, the solar system does not end. It simply grows quiet. And in that quiet, we continue to listen.
We've traveled from Earth to Pluto and beyond, to Arrokoth, the most distant world ever visited. New Horizons revealed mountains of ice, plains that move like glaciers, and relics from the dawn of creation. Now, as the spacecraft drifts deeper into darkness, we turn our attention inward to what these discoveries truly mean. Scene 1. The Longest Journey. As of today, New Horizons is over 8 billion kilometers from home. Its signal, just a whisper of radio waves, takes more than 7 hours to reach Earth. The spacecraft continues its mission, moving silently through the Kuiper Belt, where sunlight is no brighter than the stars of our night sky. But this isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of understanding what exploration really is. For New Horizons, every kilometer forward is also a step into the past, toward the time when the solar system was young, when dust and ice first became the building blocks of everything we know. Narrator, softly. We sent this machine to explore the edge of light, but what it truly discovered was the persistence of wonder. Scene 2. The Perspective of Distance. From Earth, the sun defines everything: our days, our seasons, our energy, our time. But from Pluto's orbit, the sun is just a bright star, no larger than a pinprick in a black sea. In that scale of emptiness, you begin to understand how fragile our warmth truly is. The solar system, all of it, is just a thin bubble of light suspended in infinite dark. And yet, within that bubble, life has emerged, grown, and built the technology to look back. That's what New Horizons represents: awareness extending beyond survival, curiosity as a form of existence. Scene 3. The Final Images. After the Pluto and Arrokoth flybys, New Horizons continued taking images of the star fields around it, not to find beauty, but to calibrate its cameras. Yet even in those technical images, there's something moving. Points of light scattered across eternity, each one a reminder that the universe is vast beyond measure. In one photo, you can see Pluto and Charon as tiny dots fading behind the spacecraft's path. They are smaller than a single pixel. the last view humanity will ever have of them up close. Every pixel, every byte is a final farewell. The music softens, almost silent now. Narrator. It's easy to think of this as an ending, but in space, nothing truly ends. It simply drifts beyond our reach of eyes. Scene 4. The message from a machine. New Horizons carries no gold record like Voyager. Its mission was never meant to last forever. And yet, in its code and circuits, there is something just as profound. The collective intention of everyone who built it, launched it, and believed in it. It is a messenger of patience, a reminder that exploration is not about conquest, but about connection between time, distance, and understanding. Every transmission that returns from New Horizons is not just data. It's proof that curiosity can travel billions of kilometers and still find something worth learning. Scene 5. The legacy of discovery. When the mission first began, Pluto was still officially the 9th planet. By the time New Horizons arrived, it had been reclassified as a dwarf planet, a decision that stirred controversy and emotion. But after seeing what New Horizons revealed, that debate feels small. Because Pluto is not defined by labels, it is defined by wonder. It reminded us that classification is human, but mystery is universal. The heart on Pluto's surface became a symbol not just of the planet itself, but of the humanity that reached across darkness to find it. Strings rise, steady, glowing, full of warmth. Narrator. We did not just explore Pluto, we met it, and through it, we rediscovered the part of ourselves that still dreams. Scene 6. Lessons from the Edge. New Horizons taught us that even the smallest worlds can hold great stories, that beauty is not rare, it's everywhere, waiting to be seen closely enough. It showed us that cold does not mean lifeless, and distance does not mean isolation. Even at the edge of sunlight, the solar system is alive with movement, chemistry, and light. And perhaps most importantly, it reminded us that the unknown is not to be feared, but to be sought, because every horizon we cross reveals another waiting to be discovered. Scene 8. A quiet future. Someday, decades from now, New Horizons' power will fade. Its instruments will fall silent, and its antenna will no longer whisper to Earth. It will drift forever through interstellar space, a tiny monument to human curiosity. Perhaps one day another civilization will find it and wonder who sent it and why. Or perhaps it will simply continue on, unseen, untouched, a piece of our story written into the stars. Scene 9. The meaning of it all. Why do we do this? Why build machines to go so far, to chase faint worlds that give us no reward but knowledge? Because knowledge is meaning. Every mission, like New Horizons, is a mirror, showing us not just where we are, but what we are. We are a species that looks outward, that asks questions even when answers seem impossible, that finds beauty in cold, distant light. The farther we go, the clearer it becomes. We are explorers because we seek not new worlds, but to understand our own. The closing light. As the spacecraft continues into the dark, It carries with it a faint memory of sunlight, a warmth it will never feel again. Yet in every sense, that light defines its journey, just as it defines ours. Pluto was once the final dot on a schoolroom map of the solar system. Now, it's the gateway to infinity. New Horizons didn't just reach it. It reminded us that the story of exploration is far from over. Because as long as there is light, there will be horizons. And as long as we keep looking, we will never stop finding new worlds.